This video is all about the joint mobility portion of our warm-up. So we like to start with ankle mobility. That's a huge limiting factor in any type of squat pattern. What I have guys do is I have them place their foot or their toes about a fist and a thumb's length away from the wall. So this is just your typical ankle mobility screen. What you're going to do is put your hands on the wall, back knee on the ground, tuck your toes toward your shin, and then with the front leg, you're going to drive your knee forward as far as you can without letting your heel come up off the ground. That's probably the toughest part. The thing that people struggle with most is they'll get here, this is the end range of motion, they think they need to touch the wall, and so they'll lift the heel up. That's not doing anything for you. You want to make sure that you're really pushing that ankle range of motion. And you can see here I can get pretty far without letting my heel come up. You'll feel some tightness, especially in the front of the ankle here. That's totally normal. You just want to slowly but surely push that range of motion. I have guys go 5 times over the pinky toe, 5 times over the middle, and then 5 times over the big toe, just to get a little bit of variety, and then switch sides, same thing. 5 over the pinky, 5 over the middle, 5 over the big toe. And when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're really flossing that joint. So all the way in, all the way out, all the way in, all the way out. After you're done with the ankle mobility portion, start to work on the hips a little bit. So you're going to get into, we're just going to do split squats, feet, or we'll get into the tall kneeling position actually to start. So heel underneath knee, knee underneath hip, toes tucked toward the shins. My hands go on my hips, and then I want to maintain a nice square posture as I do this. What I'm going to do is I want to think elevator, not escalator. So my upper body just moves straight up and down. I fully extend both knees. And so we're working on a little bit of hip flexion and extension here. So you'll do 10 on each side. After you do that, we'll go into a lateral squat. I like to position my feet about 4 feet apart. You'll have to play with this a little bit. That's totally fine. The thing that you want to avoid is your knee coming outside of this foot. So if you're doing the squat and your knee tracks way outside, you know your feet are a little too close. So you can kind of widen your feet a little bit. I like to try to set it up so that my ankle, knee, and hip are all in one line. We just want to try to get as low as we can without overly breaking at the hips here. So I keep a nice torso angle. Not perfectly upright, I'm definitely leaning forward. After we do the lateral squat, we'll go into what's called the 90-90 to work internal and external rotation of the hips. What you do is you set up with your knees at a 90-degree angle, and then with the leg that is, the outside of the leg is on the ground. So in this case, it's my left leg. I'm going to place my hand on the ankle, my other hand on the knee, and then I'm going to drive my knee, my opposite knee, my free leg, up toward the ceiling. Try to get as much out of that range of motion as I can as I drive the other knee into the ground, and then roll to the other side. Same thing. Hands on my ankle and knee. With my free leg, I'm going to try to point this knee up toward the ceiling. And then I roll to the other side. Notice how my feet aren't moving from that position. You want to kind of rotate about the heel here. So my toes come up off the ground, that's fine, but my heels stay planted. Oftentimes people lack the mobility to do this without putting their hands on the ground. I do it pretty easily, but if you have to put your hands back in order to get to this, that's totally fine. just eventually try to work your way up until you're sitting up. And then if you can eventually do this while you're leaning forward, that's even better. So that concludes the joint mobility portion of the warm-up.